Hi there, Katherine. Let's take a look at this newest set of essays you've sent to us. First, we've got this mixed chart. So we've got a line graph here with the special trade zone member income. And then we have the global market share exports of a whole bunch of countries. So let's see what you said. Okay, I don't know what happened here. It's strange. Let me see if I can fix it. Okay. The line graph shows the total revenue of special trade field from 1990 to 2000, measuring in U.S. billion dollars. Whereas the pie chart reveals the international export market data in 9 different regions in 2000. Overall, the income of the line chart underwent a sharp growth trend. On the contrary, pie chart illustrates the largest share showed in Ben's land, while Peterland had the smallest amount. All right, so what I found in this introduction is that you had some good information, but there were some grammar and vocabulary problems in the paragraph. So let's take a look at those. First of all, it's inaccurate to call it special trade field. Now, there are certain words that you simply cannot find synonyms for. And here's the other thing I want you to know. Just because it's used in the title or anywhere in the chart or graph, that doesn't mean you can't use it. You can use those words. Now, with the words that you want to avoid are the words in the actual prompt, in the description, where it kind of gives you the instructions. That's where you don't want to copy the words word for word. But here it's okay to use these words just as you see them. And sometimes it's really the only way to say some of these things, because this was a special trade zone and you tried to trade zone to field, which it didn't really make a lot of sense, okay? And this was global market share exports, okay? All right, let's try it again. The line graph shows the total revenue of a special trade zone from 1990 to 2000, measuring in U.S. billion dollars. Now, what I would have done here is I would have also kept these one sentence, because whereas it sounds a little strange, you can't really use it on its own. You have to use it with another clause. So keep it as one sentence. So comma here and then lowercase w, whereas the pie chart reveals the international export market data. Let me just make sure that's correct. International export. Well, we don't really know if it's, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it is international. Okay. Export data in 9 different regions. Okay. Let's see. Overall, the income of the line graph underwent a sharp growth trend. That's awkward too. So a sharp upward trend. And then you don't want on the contrary. Here what you really want to say is in contrast. The reason is because on the contrary is used in a very specific way. So definitely look it up and see how it's used so that you can use it correctly. So this should really be in contrast. The pie chart illustrates the largest share was shown in Ben's land, while Peterland had the smallest amount. Okay, and then you're fine. Let's move on. Looking at the line graph, the total revenue recorded in 100,000, I'm so confused. Hold on. The total revenue recorded in 120,100. I don't understand what that means. Let's just double check. Okay, so 1990, 1991 was just over 120. Looks like it's around maybe 125,000. So let's see again. Okay, looking first at the line graph, the total revenue recorded between 1990 and 1991 was 125,000. Okay, so I had to change around the word order a bit. The figure then increased slightly to 130,300 the following years. It's a little specific for me, to be honest with you. Like, how do you know that this is 100 and this is 300? All right, anyway. Then the number remained at the same amount until 1993. Interestingly, the figure of members' income in the unique trade zone experienced a dramatic rise from $130-300 US billion in 1993 to nearly $180 US billion in 1997. In the following 3 years, the number had a small variation from 17,600 to 17,800. Okay, I'm a little confused. What does that mean? Let me just take a look. So you're telling me what happened in 1997, and then you're talking about this small variation. I didn't really understand that. I think you're either missing a zero or something happened here. But if you are missing a zero, then that's a pretty big deal because you've really altered what your figures are. Your figures are something entirely different. They're 10 times higher than what you're making them appear as here. So that's a problem. It's also showing inaccuracy, and that's going to be a problem for your scoring. Okay, so moving on to the pie chart. It's not a pie graph. It is clear that Bensland had the largest export share with 90,233. The second highest international export share, not accounted for, was, you could have said 89,522 in Jamestown. Following this, Andy Land's apostrophe S global market share stood at 75,341. However, Darren's land market exports were almost 2 times lower than those, because it's plural, of Ben's land. Regarding Tim's land, your spelling is wrong here and here. The revenue of export made up between 52,000 and 56,000. There were two, I don't understand this, 2 lowest export, this is awkward here. Let's see, how else could you have said that? You could have said maybe the 2 lowest, how could you say this? How about this? The countries that accounted for the 2 lowest market shares were Joe Land and Peter Land, with this and this respectively. Okay, so essentially I feel like there was a lot of data here. Not even data, I think it was a little long, and I would have preferred you to kind of highlight maybe some of the more important things. Let's see if I can get a word count out of this. No, I can't because it's not word. Okay. It felt a little long. All right. Now, I realize that there's a lot of data here. All right. So it's understandable. But when you do have a lot of data, it's really very important that you learn how to group and how to categorize and edit, okay, and really just focus on the important pieces of data here. So what were those important pieces of data? You basically wanted to talk about this increase from 1990 to 1997. You could have just said that there were 2 plateaus that lasted a year each, but that in general the figure rose. So that's pretty much how it started. I would say that it started out the period at around 120,000, and until 1997, it increased. I guess you could say it had a dramatic increase to about 170,000 in 1997. In that period, there were 2 plateaus of just 1 year in 1990 to 1991, and from 1992 to 1993. And then you could say that for the last 3 years of the period, the figure remained relatively stable. You don't have to get into any more details about this. And then essentially you are done with this graph. So then what's important to mention here? Here you have to do some good grouping, because you've got these 2 which are similar, okay? And then you've got these 1, 2, 3, 4 which are similar, so you can put them together. You could say this is just like on its own, all right, between those 2. And then you had 2 member countries that had the lowest, and that's it. Okay, so it's a briefer way to do it than the way you did it. I think that our approach for the pie chart is pretty similar, but the line graph, like I said, I would have shortened it. All right, so with that, let's take a look at your task 2. Okay, so let's take a look at computer education for young learners. Is it necessary, or will they get this from other places? Let's see what you say. In recent years, many educational institutions have, careful here. In recent years is a tense that requires you to use a perfect tense. So let's try it again. In recent years, many educational institutions have well, I can't say institutions instituted. Let's try it a little differently. In recent years, many educational institutions have begun offering computer educational classes. It shouldn't be educational, it should be education. Computer education classes, as this is an important subject in the school. Some experts think that this is essential for youth's learning. I think you need an apostrophe after the S, while others believe that computer skills can be learned genuinely with other people from daily technology interaction. Genuinely is a strange word here. It doesn't belong. I personally believe that it is necessary for young learners to obtain the abilities from academic institutions. Not abilities, but it's really the knowledge and the familiarity, not the abilities. In this essay, I'm going to give examples and provide my own viewpoints. Okay. Fine. Let's see. As the digital age is... You can't say that it's rising. That's a wrong word here. You could say that the digital age is here. As the digital age continues, that would be a good way to say it. So let's try it like that. As the digital age continues, technology becomes necessary tools. It's a little awkward when it comes to education schools. This is because instructors cannot only use a variety of resources on the internet to improve their teaching, also can explore creativity and imagination abilities for students in the class. For example, 90% of educational institutions in Japan have computer-related subjects such as drawing and science classes. Operating these courses via computer allows students to understand and learn better. Therefore, such classes can certainly help youngsters acquire knowledge. Meanwhile, it can be more fun during the classes. Okay, so I think there are a couple of things happening in this essay. There were some mistakes, obviously, with grammar and vocabulary. I think there were a couple of other things that I wanted to fix here. But apart from that, I saw some other things that I want to talk about in terms of the task achievement and whether you've actually answered the question. What you essentially were telling us in this essay is that technology is a helpful tool in education because it can teach children drawing and science and help develop the creativity and imagination of students. But that's not really what this is asking you, is it? It's asking you, take a look at it again, if children should learn how to use computers in school, or if they will learn this on their own in their personal time. So it's not about how to use computers to learn other skills, but it's rather if children should learn how to operate computers in school rather than at home. Okay, so the focus here, in my opinion, was incorrect, okay? Okay, so let's move on. Another reason why I think learning computers, S, is essential is because it is useful for youth's, apostrophe after the S, academic development and career. If students know how to operate technology equipment, technological would be better, properly with professionals in the academy, it can definitely be more competitive. Not it can be, but they become more competitive. Okay? They can become more competitive. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what you said. It can be more competitive for their education, school, and work in the future. It's an awkward expression, and we would never really say this in English, so I'm trying to come up with another way to say it. I'm having trouble with it, though. You're just trying to say that it will make them more competitive in their future in terms of jobs and further education. That's essentially what you're trying to say. In fact, numerous academic institutions worldwide require computer skills in order to provide assignments and to listen to the lectures on the internet. so that professors can view learners' tasks in an easier and more convenient way. This should be one sentence. This is not the beginning of a new sentence. So that professors can view learners' tasks, again, S apostrophe here, in an easier and more convenient way. And young learners can also get the feedback from professors. I don't know what this means at the first time. That's confusing. In conclusion, I firmly believe that having computer education is significant, as this makes pupils learn and understand better academically and personally. Full stop. These skills are also beneficial for the future development. All right, I didn't understand what you meant here. They understand better personally. That wasn't particularly clear, but the rest of it was okay. You just need to put a full stop here and then start a new sentence, okay? So there's some nice elements here, but I definitely spotted some problems. Like I said, I felt this first paragraph was not particularly on topic. The second paragraph was better, but it had some awkwardness. In fact, I think that that's one word we can use to characterize a lot of this essay, that there were sections that were awkward. So there were some times where it was a little incoherent, like I just wasn't sure what you were trying to say. And those sections could possibly keep you from getting the score that you want to get. I really want you to work on those, okay? Try to write with word order and with a syntax that is more natural sounding. All right, so go ahead and correct these essays, and let's see another set from you. So good luck with that.